They used to mock your name. Now it rattles in their throats like a warning. Chosen ones, let's be clear. What they feared the most wasn't your presence. It was the consequence of underestimating it. You didn't come in loud, but every room you walked into stopped breathing for a second, not because you demanded silence, but because your energy ripped the mask off every fake soul in it. You were never the villain. But when people can't manipulate you, when their charm bounces off your armor and their tricks backfire, they start calling you the problem. That's what happens when illusions collide with someone who walks in truth. And truth, when it's unbothered and sharp, cuts deep. They tried to blur your image, twist your intentions, stir up storms around your name, but the storm always came back to devour them. They tried to trap you, but got caught in their own setup. See, the problem with enemies who move in shadows is they forget one thing. Light exposes, and you, chosen one, are that light. That's why their games keep failing. That's why they're spiraling. You were never loud, but your results made the noise for you. While they were busy gossiping, you were elevating. While they were setting traps, you were building empires. You don't just survive attacks, you gain power from them. You don't just rise, you haunt those who tried to bury you. That's the curse they gave themselves, trying to destroy someone who wasn't sent to be destroyed. And now they can't stop thinking about you. Not because you're chasing them, but because your success keeps showing up where their silence used to win. The chosen don't clap back. They glow up, level up, and leave behind footprints that echo louder than revenge ever could. If you feel this power in your spirit, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let's keep building a space for the chosen, the rare, the ones who don't need permission to rise. Let's continue. Before moving ahead, let me take a moment to thank every soul who has supported this mission through Super Thanks. Your generosity is not just a donation, it's a sign that your spirit recognizes truth, that you're not just here to listen, but to stand in alignment with something greater than ego, drama, or revenge. You're helping this message reach others who have been silenced, doubted, and discarded, so they too can rise with clarity, with power, and with peace that disturbs the enemy. If something in your spirit feels this truth, if you know in your bones that you weren't meant to be silenced but set apart, affirm it quietly but boldly. Comment 999 below as your personal seal of faith, a quiet agreement that your light is real, your calling is sacred, and no weapon formed against your destiny will prosper. Number 1. Stop making noise, make silence, so loud it shakes their soul. They thought your silence meant softness, that your stillness was weakness. But chosen one, what they failed to realize is that your quiet wasn't hesitation, it was calculation. You were never the type to swing wild. You were the type to aim slow, aim steady, and strike with such precision that it changed the entire atmosphere. You didn't speak just to fill space. You spoke when the truth needed to land like thunder, undeniable, unforgettable, unmoved. While they were busy showing off, you were studying. You watched every twitch, every pattern, every lie, dressed in charm. You weren't ignoring the shade. You were collecting receipts, energy shifts, red flags, and motives. You let them think you didn't notice, and that was the setup. Because once you did move, once you finally opened your mouth, it was never a reaction. It was a decision, a clean, final one. Not a debate, not a warning, a verdict. People didn't fear your voice because it was loud. They feared it because it meant something was about to change, for good. You don't do closure. You don't chase explanations. You leave silence and consequences behind. And that is what haunts them. Not knowing when you'll cut them off. not knowing what you remember, not knowing if you've already decided. That mystery, it shakes them, because control doesn't exist around someone they can't read. Your silence trained people better than arguments ever could. You built your reputation in the pauses, in the moments you didn't clap back, in the times you let fools ramble and you just watched, with that calm that unnerves the dishonest. You made every word matter because you never wasted one. And when you finally spoke, it was already too late to undo what had been done. You weren't speaking to start a fight. You were speaking to end the performance. You shattered the illusion that niceness equals goodness. You refused to play by the unspoken rules, smile to keep peace, agree to keep friends, shrink so no one feels small around you. You walked into rooms and made the air shift just by telling the truth. And it wasn't loud, wasn't dramatic. It was clean, grounded, undeniable, like opening a window in a room filled with smoke. You didn't care to make people comfortable. You cared to be real. That's what made them squirm, not your tone, but your clarity. You became the mirror people didn't ask for. And when they looked in it, what stared back wasn't your judgment. It was their own reflection. And it cracked the image they spent years trying to protect. Let this remind you, chosen one, silence is not weakness. Truth is not cruelty. And your voice, when used in alignment with purpose, is not an echo. It's an earthquake. Keep moving like you do. Let the world adjust. Let's keep going. 2. Don't smile to survive. Break the mask before it breaks you. They told you to smile through it, to keep the peace, to fake calm while chaos cracked your spirit. But chosen one, you weren't born to survive behind a mask. You were built to break every mask that ever tried to silence your truth. The world conditioned you to shrink, to blend in, to wear the face that made others comfortable. But what no one expected was for you to rip that disguise off and reveal something far more powerful, the unfiltered, unshakable, real you. You stopped smiling just to survive. You stopped sugarcoating betrayal. You stopped nodding in rooms that reeked of disrespect. And the moment you did that, you made people nervous. Because the truth you carry in your silence is louder than any approval they ever gave. They depended on your politeness to protect their performance. But now, that script is over. You're not playing nice, you're playing real. You walk into spaces and shift the air, not with noise, but with presence. You don't pretend anymore. You don't flatter just to fit in. You speak when necessary, and when you do, every mask in the room starts to slip. Because deep down, they know you see through it all. And when you refuse to play along, you force them to confront what they've been running from, their own reflection. That's why they flinch. That's why they avoid eye contact. Because you didn't just survive the room, you exposed it. So break the mask before it breaks you. You don't need to hide your power behind politeness. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be true. Stay solid, chosen one. The ones who can't handle your realness were never meant to stand beside it anyway. 3. Quit saving people who refuse to grow. Accountability is the exit door. They told you to smile through it, to keep the peace, to fake calm while chaos cracked your spirit. But chosen one, you weren't born to survive behind a mask. You were built to break every mask that ever tried to silence your truth. The world conditioned you to shrink, to blend in, to wear the face that made others comfortable. But what no one expected was for you to rip that disguise off and reveal something far more powerful, the unfiltered, unshakable, real you. You stopped smiling just to survive. You stopped sugarcoating betrayal. You stopped nodding in rooms that reeked of disrespect. And the moment you did that, you made people nervous. Because the truth you carry in your silence is louder than any approval they ever gave. They depended on your politeness to protect their performance. But now, that script is over. You're not playing nice. You're playing real. You walk into spaces and shift the air, not with noise, but with presence. You don't pretend anymore. You don't flatter just to fit in. You speak when necessary, and when you do, every mask in the room starts to slip. Because deep down, they know you see through it all. And when you refuse to play along, you force them to confront what they've been running from, their own reflection. That's why they flinch. That's why they avoid eye contact. Because you didn't just survive the room, you exposed it. So break the mask before it breaks you. You don't need to hide your power behind politeness. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be true. Stay solid, chosen one. The ones who can't handle your realness were never meant to stand beside it anyway. Number 4. Walk away like a storm. Make your absence the real punishment. They thought you leaving would be quiet. They thought your absence would feel like silence. But chosen one, when you walk away, it's not a retreat. It's a storm rolling out. It's the aftershock of every truth you didn't bother to explain. It's the echo of your standards collapsing everything that was built on comfort, lies, and convenience. You never raised your voice. You raised the vibration, and now that you're gone, nothing feels the same. You didn't need to slam doors or make declarations. You just left. And in that leaving, you took something far more valuable than attention. You took your presence, your energy, your balance, your peace. They didn't realize you were the one keeping the chaos at bay, the tension in check, the lies from completely swallowing the room. Now that you're gone, the masks are slipping. The noise is louder. The truth is unavoidable. Your absence is their mirror. And every day without you reminds them that you were never just there. You were holding it all together. Not with words, but with your way of being. The weight of your integrity, the calm in your energy. And now, the collapse. That's the price. That's the consequence. You didn't leave to hurt anyone. You left because staying would have betrayed yourself. So let them feel it. Let the silence speak. Because sometimes the most powerful message is distance. And when you walk away like a storm, your absence doesn't just hurt, it haunts. Number 5. Stop trying to compete. Outgrow the room until you own it. They keep playing the comparison game, measuring clout, chasing validation, begging for attention like it's currency. But you stopped trying to compete the moment you realized the room wasn't even built for someone like you. Chosen one, you were never meant to fight for a seat. You were born to build the table. And that's exactly what you did. Quietly, relentlessly, powerfully. You weren't watching their moves. You were mastering your own. While they were busy trying to get noticed, you were evolving day by day, decision by decision, until the version of you they once ignored became the version they can't stop watching. You didn't need to compete. You elevated so high that you made the entire playing field irrelevant. That's the real reason they act uncomfortable around you. It's not jealousy, it's awareness. They know deep down you're not checking for them. You're not interested in winning their game because you're too busy writing your own rule book. You weren't meant to blend in. You were sent to stand so tall in your own lane that the comparison collapses. This world taught them to chase trophies. But you became the standard. You turned your focus inward and made self-mastery your mission. Now you don't have to prove anything. Your energy walks in before you do. And that alone is more powerful than any spotlight. So stop trying to fit in. Keep keep outgrowing every space that tries to limit you. That's how chosen ones move, not by competing, but by becoming unreachable. Number 6. Never show the climb. Let power look effortless. So they doubt their grind. They keep watching you, confused. How did you rise without the noise? How did you elevate without the performance, without the drama, without announcing every move? Chosen one, that's what disturbs them the most. You never showed the climb. You never begged for applause or posted every step. You moved in silence, and now your position feels like a glitch in their system. While they were obsessed with being seen, you were mastering how to move. You weren't flaunting the grind. You were embodying the result. You didn't complain about the struggle. You let the results speak. And now that you've arrived, it's too late for them to trace the path. That's what burns them. You didn't just win, you made it look too effortless. You became proof that real power doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just walks in, shifts the atmosphere, and leaves everyone else rethinking everything they thought they knew. They expect struggle to look messy. But you, chosen one, made it look like royalty. Calm posture, clean execution, unshakable focus. And now they're doubting their own grind, wondering why all their noise produced so little, and your silence built so much. Let them guess. Let them try to figure it out. The moment they start asking how, they've already acknowledged who's ahead. Number 7. Don't just speak, be so certain you never have to explain again. Chosen one, you reached a point where silence wasn't absence, it was authority. You stopped explaining yourself not because you had nothing to say, but because everything you stand for is already written in how you move. Your boundaries are not up for discussion. Your values are not a debate. And your truth, it doesn't need a translator. You realize that people don't always ask for explanation because they care. They ask to regain control. They ask to twist your narrative, soften your stance, and dilute your power. But you don't owe anyone an emotional discount on your decisions. You don't speak to be understood. You speak to be clear. And once you've said it, that's it. No follow-up, no apology, no emotional cleanup on aisle 3. Your confidence didn't come from being loud. It came from being rooted. And that kind of certainty, it unsettles people because they expect performance. They expect you to plead your case and beg to be seen. But you're done playing soft to make others comfortable. You're done breaking down your worth into bite-sized pieces they can swallow. When you speak now, it's a final line. It's closure. It's truth in its rawest form. And when you go quiet, that silence speaks louder than any justification ever could. Because when someone is solid in who they are, they don't need to prove anything. They become the proof. Remember, chosen one, certainty isn't arrogance, it's alignment. And when you're aligned, explanation is irrelevant. Your walk does the talking. Number 8. Keep their secrets. Let the fear of exposure keep you untouchable. They thought you were just a listener, someone they could pour their darkness into and walk away clean. But chosen one, what they didn't understand was that silence doesn't mean submission. It means storage. You didn't forget a word. You just chose not to speak. And that choice, that's what keeps them sweating. That's what makes your name echo like a locked vault they no longer have the key to. You never threatened them. You never had to. Just the possibility that you could speak, that you could unravel their carefully protected masks, was enough to shift the entire atmosphere. You became a quiet storm, holding every secret, every confession, every hidden motive behind those calm eyes. And now, When your name is mentioned, it isn't followed by laughter. It's followed by tension, a pause, a change in tone, because they remember what they told you, and they know you remember too. But here's where your power lives. You never used it. You never exposed them. You let your silence discipline them, because you don't need to destroy anyone to feel powerful. You let them destroy themselves with fear. Fear of what might happen if you ever decided to stop protecting what they gave you when they thought you were weak. You're not holding secrets. You're holding dominance. You're not blackmailing. You're just existing in a way that reminds them truth never really disappears. It waits. And that waiting, that quiet knowing, is what keeps you untouchable. Let the guessing continue. Let the silence speak. You didn't lose anything. You gained control. Keep moving like the vault you are, chosen one. Number 9. Stop giving loyalty like candy. Make it a blade they shouldn't test. They thought your loyalty was cheap, something you handed out like favors, like it cost you nothing. But chosen one, you learned the hard way. Not everyone deserves access to your loyalty. Not everyone knows what to do with it once they have it. So now, you've sharpened it. You've turned it from a soft comfort into a blade they shouldn't dare test. You used to ride for people who wouldn't even walk for you. You stood beside them in their darkest moments, kept their secrets buried, defended their names in rooms they weren't even brave enough to enter. And what did they do with that loyalty? They gambled it. They assumed you'd never leave. They mistook your silence for submission, your consistency for weakness. But when you left, when you finally pulled it all back, they felt the collapse. Because your loyalty wasn't just support. It was structure. It was protection. Now your loyalty isn't loud. It's strategic, earned, selective. You don't give it out to anyone who shows you a smile. You watch, you wait, you test. And once it's withdrawn, there's no coming back. That's the part they didn't expect. The quiet shift that changes everything. When people ask why you're distant now, why you stopped answering, why you walked away without warning, just remember, your loyalty wasn't a weakness. It was a gift. And once it's gone, so is the shield they never even thanked you for holding. Remember, chosen one, your loyalty is not a giveaway. It's a sword. Use it wisely. Number 10. Don't clap back, erase and leave them screaming into silence. They wanted a reaction. They baited you with lies, pushed your buttons, and waited for you to explode. Because that's what they understand. Noise, chaos, back and forth drama. But you, chosen one, you broke the cycle. You didn't clap back. You didn't argue. You didn't fire off some emotional response. You simply disappeared. And that's what tore them apart. You see, the most dangerous person isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who walks away without saying a word and takes their energy, their peace, and their presence with them. You didn't give them the satisfaction of a showdown. You gave them silence. And that silence, it echoed louder than any insult ever could. Because now they're stuck screaming into a void where you used to stand, begging for the chaos they once weaponized, hoping for a response that will never come. You erased them, not to be cruel, but to protect your peace. You didn't make a scene, you made a decision. And that decision rewrote the dynamic forever. You're no longer available for disrespect. You're no longer reachable through guilt, manipulation, or drama. You cut the cord, cleaned your hands, and moved on. And now, they're still talking, still spiraling, still trying to figure out how someone like you could let go so cleanly. But you're not bothered, because silence isn't surrender, it's strategy. You didn't clap back because you don't compete in the circus. You rise above it. and they will feel that loss every time they try to speak your name into spaces they no longer deserve to enter. Number 11. Don't react to chaos. Move like a principle, not an emotion. They want you to flinch, to fire back, to break character and prove them right. But you, chosen one, you're not built like that. You don't move off impulse. You move off intention. While the world spins in noise, confusion, and chaos, you stay grounded in something deeper. Principle, not emotion, not drama, not ego, just principle. They've thrown shade, hoping to get a rise out of you. They've baited you with lies, silence, and cheap theatrics, but you didn't bite. And that alone unraveled them. Because people are used to reactions. They're used to pushing buttons and watching others crumble. But when you stand still in a storm, unshaken and unmoved, it exposes everything frantic in them. You don't swing wildly. You strike when it matters, and only when it's aligned with truth. See, when your core is rooted in values, you don't need to prove anything. You don't need to match energy. You set it. You don't yell to be heard. You wait for the moment that silence can't ignore. That's where your power is, not in emotion, but in precision. In choosing when to act, how to act, and more importantly, why to act. People who live in chaos fear those who don't, because they can't control you, they can't predict you, they can't shake you. You operate on a code, and that makes you untouchable. So stay steady, chosen one. Don't flinch. Don't feed the fire. Be the principle that outlasts the storm. Let the world spin while you stand still. Number 12. Forget being liked. Be so real they can't pretend you don't exist. They told you to be likable, to play it safe, to keep your edges soft so nobody gets uncomfortable. But chosen one, you weren't built to be liked. You were built to be undeniable. You didn't come here to blend in. You came to wake people up. You don't water down your truth just to be invited to tables you could flip with a whisper. And the moment you stopped caring about approval, everything changed. You became too real to be ignored, too authentic to be erased. See, people can gossip about what they don't understand, but they can't pretend you're not there when your presence shakes the foundation of everything fake around them. You walk in rooms and the atmosphere adjusts, not because you're loud, but because you exist in full, raw truth. No filters, no apologies. That's why you're feared, not embraced. You reflect what people are hiding. You don't beg for love, you stand in alignment. And that kind of energy, it exposes, it triggers, it frees. It also isolates. But chosen one, you weren't made for the crowd. You were made to shift culture. Let them talk, let them turn away, let them pretend, because deep down, they feel it. You're not just someone they met, you're someone they remember. Long after the crowd forgets, you left an imprint, not because you wanted to be liked, but because you refused to be erased. Keep being real, chosen one. That's your power. Before we close, just remember this. Being liked is temporary, but being real leaves a legacy. Chosen one, your presence is the proof that truth doesn't need applause to be powerful. The world may try to forget your name, but your impact won't let them. You weren't meant to be digestible. You were meant to be unforgettable. If this message stirred something in you, if you know deep down that you're walking a different path for a reason, then support this journey. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected to this energy. Your authenticity is your weapon. Use it wisely.